Welcome back everyone. Today we return to Italy to do a much requested video. I've loved looking at creepy stories from Italy, and to be honest, it's been a lot easier for me to do this than other countries out there. Italy has a very ancient history with many scary legends popping up over the years. I found 10 more absolutely amazing ones. Let's see if you can make it to the end of this. My name is Danny Burke, and this is the top 10 scary Italian urban legends part 2. Starting off at number 10 now, we have the Little Blue One. This is a story of Castello di Montebello. On June 1st, 1375, the 5-year-old daughter of Lord Ugali Nuccio da Montebello was playing inside the house. Her name was Gwendolania. She was an albino who wasn't allowed out in the sun in case it damaged her skin. Her blue hair and blue eyes made everyone call her the Little Blue One. Now on this day, her father went upstairs to check on her and asked where the little girl was, but she was nowhere to be found. She had run after her cloth ball into the sprawling dark dungeon, never to be found again. Now locals believe her ghost still roams the castle, and that on summer solstice every 5 years, the Little Blue One calls out into the night. Next up at number 9 now, we have Pier Zanfretta. From 1978 to 1981, this Italian security guard was the victim of not 1, not 2, 3 or 4, but 5 separate alien abduction cases that took place in Genoa. After each time, he was regressed hypnotically and even voluntarily took truth serum in order to give a detailed and true account of the events. The abductions would always involve a group of aliens known as the Dragos, who were from the planet Zetonia. The first time, Zanfretta claimed to have seen 4 lights moving around in the garden of the house that he was commissioned to guard at that time. Suddenly, the engine, radio and lights of his vehicle all went out at the same time. He then saw 4 lights moving around the garden and presumed it was thieves come to rob the property. He crept through the gate, and just as he was about to confront the trespassers, he felt something touch his shoulder. He spun around quickly and, in his own words, he described what he saw as an enormous, green, ugly and frightful creature with undulating skin, as though he were very fat or dressed in a loose grey tunic, no less than 10 feet tall. In later interviews, he would also describe the creatures as hairy, with points on the side of their faces, round fingertips and monstrous yellow triangular eyes. As I said in the beginning, this encounter was not the last one that he had. It would go on to become the stuff of legend in Italy and for the paranormal community worldwide. Next up at number 8 now, we have the Mouth of Truth. In the Paleo-Christian church of Santa Maria in Rome lies a statue called the Mouth of Truth. It was built by the Romans during the classical period and represents a river god with an open mouth, wide eyes and a flowing mane of hair. Legend says that if a liar puts their hand in that statue's mouth and says a lie, they will lose their hand, just get bitten right off. The story goes that a rich wife of a Roman noble was accused of adultery. She denied the accusations, but her husband wanted to put her to the test, so he told her to put her hand inside the statue's mouth and say it. The wife had thought ahead of time though. She knew this was going to happen, and so, in front of the crowd at the statue, the man who was her secret lover embraced and kissed her. She then pretended that she didn't know him, accused him of being a madman, and the crowd chased him away. When she put her hand into the mouth, she declared that she had never kissed anyone except her husband and that madman who had just kissed her. Her hand was saved, but those who still suspected her believed that the hand must have lost its power. Many people still believe in its powers though, risking their entire hands to see if the legend still remains. Next up at number 7 now, we have the Crushing. The Sedele Anime is a house in Genoa that has been linked to a number of disappearances over the years. Some say that many years ago it served as an inn for travellers on the road between Lombardy and Piedmont. According to the story, the innkeeper there would always warmly greet travellers. He would give them hearty drinks, and then, when tiredness overcame them, he would suggest that they sleep in a particularly secluded room in the inn. Once the travellers would fall asleep, the ceiling would slowly begin to descend. By the time they woke up, they were being crushed against the ceiling. Once the travellers were dead, the innkeeper would dispose of their remains and gather whatever belongings they had to sell. For many years, these evil claims were dismissed, but they re-emerged when a bag of bones dating back to the 19th century were found near the house. Despite the creepy past, the house is still inhabited today, with supernatural occurrences happening on a regular basis. Next up at number 6 now, we have the Monastero Santa Radegonda. This old monastery in Milan sticks in the mind of anyone who visits it. It's a place that's not only known for its ghostly sightings, but also its ghostly sounds, specifically screams of torment. The story goes that in the late 14th century, Bernarda, daughter of Barnabo Visconti, was locked in the Rocchetta di Porta Nuova. How am I doing with the pronunciations, by the way, in this video? I feel bad for my editor. You guys don't have to see how many attempts this is taking me. I scripted that because I know it's true. Anyway, Bernarda, the daughter, was locked away because she was accused of adultery, a claim which even her father believed. Her confinement took its toll on her and she began to fade away, dying just a few months after being locked up. Now, they say her spirit roams the haunted church nearby. Many say they have seen her. Some even say they hear her anguished screams in the night, echoes of the pain she felt in the last pitiful months of her life. Moving on to number 5 now, we have the beautiful woman. There's an old legend surrounding the Villa di Corigliano near Pisa. You may recognize the name Pisa from the Leaning Tower of Pisa. If you ever intend on going there, perhaps stop by this place before you leave. According to the legend, the house is home to the ghost of Teresa della Celta Bocca Gaetini. In life, she was a beautiful woman from an ancient Pisan family. She was married to Count Cosimo Baldassare Agostini in 1755. They say that something bound her spirit not just to this mortal plane but to the very house itself. Those familiar with the house have reported seeing her move noble tapestries and ornaments or slamming doors and windows. On nights with a full moon, the lady has been known to appear on the avenue of the grounds driving a spectral horse-drawn cart. The current owners say that although she's been sighted outside of the house, that doesn't mean any peace for them, as they themselves claim to have heard her laughing in the cellar. Next up at number 4 now, we have Devil's Monk Monastery. This monastery can be found in Salerno. Legend says that a desperate wanderer once stopped by the entrance of the monastery asking for help one day. The monks did so, and the wanderer wanted to help repay them by working for them. He stayed with them for a long time and decided to become a monk himself. He was happy for a while, but eventually he fell in love with a local woman. The other monks claimed that she was a witch and warned him that she was a temptation sent by the devil. They tortured her to try and extract a confession. She never did though, and eventually died. Due to the loss of his love, the wanderer lost his mind and vowed to take revenge on the monks and the locals. People started disappearing around the town. One day a couple arrived at the monastery asking for help, just like the wanderer did all those years ago. The woman was never seen again and the man was found dead with a broken skull. The wanderer was the one who welcomed them in. When the king learned what was happening, he sent soldiers to capture the madman. They hanged the demonic monk, and locals say his evil presence can still be felt in a monastery today. Coming at number 3 now, we have the mummies of Ferentillo. Below the church of Santo Stefano in Ferentillo lie buried bodies that have been preserved for a long time. Normally when I talk about preserved bodies in a video like this, it's due to humans using an embalming technique, usually for religious reasons. These bodies though were preserved by a rare microfungus that attacked corpses and turned them into mummies. Some of the mummies still have beards, teeth and hair. Among the dead are elderly people, a Napoleonic soldier, a murder victim, a mother with her child, and even 2 Chinese lover pilgrims who died during their travels around Italy. Despite the preservation being explained by natural causes, some say this place is very much unnatural and that the preservation is a sign of an aura that exists below the church, one which people like to avoid, especially if they hear whispers down there at night. Moving on to number 2 now, we have Ospedale Montecatone. This hospital was designed by famous fascist Mussolini in 1930. It was initially a hospital that specialized in the treatment of tuberculosis. Try as they might, they couldn't save everyone. Locals began to believe that the old hospital was filling up with the spirits of those who had died there. As the hospital aged and its capabilities waned, a wing of the hospital was abandoned out of necessity. Naturally, this place has now become a hotspot for paranormal investigators from all over the world. Some ghost hunting teams have already explored the remains of the hospital and claim to have seen a little girl running down the hallways. They say this is one of the tuberculosis victims that we talked about earlier. Along with the sightings, the hospital has also been talked about in conversations about why it hasn't been renovated yet. Some people believe the authorities know more about its aura than they are letting on. And finally, number 1 now, we have Villa Clara. This villa in Ferrara is often held up as perhaps the creepiest and most haunted place in Italy. The first thing people notice when visiting is that because of its location and unique positioning, it's almost always shrouded in darkness and a natural fog, even on the brightest of days. This alone is enough to stop some locals from even walking past the house. But there's more. One story says that a girl called Clara was buried alive in the house by her own father. Nobody alive today knows the exact reason. Some say she was a clairvoyant and that her powers scared her father so much that he decided to end her life. Some people feel compelled to visit Villa Clara, knowing there is a small chance they will hear Clara herself crying out for help across the ages. Alright guys, I think I've now done a part 2 to at least half the countries we've looked at, so now it's time to look at what's left or start requesting your part 3s right away. Thanks for all your continued support of the Urban Legends videos. I'm so glad you guys all like them. Thanks as always for watching. My name is Danny Burke and I will see you all in the next video.